Hey guys, I just wanted to reach out to you and let you know that Surewinder is still selling amazing products. Some of you guys have been dragging your feet for whatever reason. If your shoulder hurts, do not waste time. Pull the trigger. I just bought 4 or 5 of them, and we had 2 guys out. You know how much it cost me to pay for 2 guys being out with bad shoulders? We just pulled the trigger and we said, listen, everybody's going to have one on a truck. It's mandatory. You got to use it. Don't hesitate. Don't wait till your guys go down. It's going to cost you more. Buy a Surewinder.
Yes. I am excited about today. Oh my goodness, guys. This is crazy. If you listened to my podcast last week, I kind of gave someone a hard time. It's a good friend of mine. I really like him. I really respect him. Today, I'm going to give him some kudos, but I'm not going to explain it until the end because I don't want it to be about that. And I'll tell you a little background. So I admire greatly this guy who runs a business here in Atlanta, and he does like HVAC, plumbing, electrical. And I had a 2-hour long conversation with this guy, younger guy. He's fairly young. I think he's younger than me by a good bit. And he's like, I've had some interaction with him in the past, but it was dealing with like his sister and him and a garage door and whatever. But I was just like really impressed by him, just the way he carries himself. You can tell he's super intelligent. And so I reached out to him and I was like, hey man, here's if you remember me, it's been a while. I'm still running my garage door company. There's some things that I want to do better and I'd love to pick your brain. I didn't say pick your brain because I hate when people say that. But I was like, would you consider jumping on a call? And he wrote me back and he was like, absolutely. As a matter of fact, Monday, I'm going to be in the car for a couple hours. We can chat while I'm in the ride. So we did. That was Monday. And I was like taking notes. I mean, this dude's like dropping bombs. And it may not be like revolutionary to you, but to me, I feel like it was. It literally shifted some of the ways that I think. And I'm going to cover some of those things today. And maybe it's going to be really good for all of our businesses. I shared this with our platinum group in GDU, and I felt like it got rave reviews, and we had some great discussion around how to make it work for garage doors and things like that. So I'm not going to go in as much of depth that I did with them, but I'm going to go high overview. I've got 30 minutes instead of an hour, so let's go. All right. One thing that I feel like, and I'm going to skip announcements. You guys want to know what's going on, you guys can go back to the previous week. I'm just going to dive right in. So we were talking about repair, and I was telling them how I want to grow my repair side and how I've had some lumps in being successful at growing our repair side. We have become widely known in the metro Atlanta area for high-end boutique type garage door company, but also like this indoor outdoor space company. And how that came about was we started doing like countertop glass garage doors. And then people were like, hey, if I cut a hole in my basement, or can we take these windows out and put a garage door in? And, this window and this door. And we just started like banging out full view glass doors, either countertop in basements or, opening up to a pool. We put some in living rooms, and we just like, I don't know. And then people were like, hey, what about a screen? Can you screen this in for me? And we're like, we don't do screens, but sure, we'll get you a quote. So we tried screens, and that was a huge success for us. And then we ended up like hooking up with Phantom. And, long story short, we've just become this like high end solution for garage doors, as well as I think like a little bit of outdoor living. We're definitely in that space. We sell fans, outdoor fans. So we're very involved in this other section of the home. However, like repair, if you were to ask around, like we just haven't really done a good job, I think, of positioning ourselves as a, widely known garage door repair company. So Aaron Overhead Doors is viewed mostly as a new door company. Let's just establish that. So I was explaining all this, we were going through it, all the details, and he's like, let me share something with you. And until I started this, I didn't get it. And I had a similar mindset. He said, if someone spring breaks and they're stuck in the garage and they call you, you come out and you swap out the spring, and you do some rollers or whatever. And let's just say it costs $1,000, right? I'm just using round numbers. Don't get your pennies in a wad. I didn't put any thought into it, but we probably still would charge around $1,000. So anyway, you can get your pennies in a wad. So this $1,000, he associated it as a life tax, which I thought was very interesting because, like, I just had to replace the coil on one of our brand new HVAC systems. Now, yes, it's covered under warranty for the part, but we're 2 years into the house and the labor wasn't covered. It didn't feel good, right? It just didn't feel good. And so I can associate that feeling of life tax with my experience with the HVAC. And I didn't use his company. I used the company that we have the warranty through. So whatever. It was a brand new house. The contractor brought the HVAC company in. So he said, but if you flip that and you install a new garage door, let's say you tell the customer, hey, today's $1,000 and your door is 20 years old. It's a builder grade. It's literally past its life. If you really need to get the garage door going right now, we can do that. It's $1,000. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to have one of my guys come out, sit down with you, and pick out a perfect door to replace this with. And you can get all new parts. You won't have to worry about any of this for a very long time. But I just feel like if we don't address that now, that it's just going to be like little bumps along the way, and you're going to constantly have us out, and we're just going to end up costing you about the same as a new door. So let's say that he's like, okay, great. And he says, but I need the door working. So you do the $1,000 and you say, hey, we're going to apply this $1,000 to a new door if you choose to purchase a door with us within a certain amount of time period. Let's just say it's 30 days or 1 week or whatever. And then he calls and to the office and schedules an appointment with one of the sales guys to come out and meet with them. And in some cases, same day, hopefully, or same week, definitely, but just trying to get somebody out there as quickly as possible. The difference between that life tax and the new door is with the new door, you upgrade their life, is what he explained. And I'm like, man, that's actually a really brilliant way to look at it. And he said, let's think about it like this. If they're hanging out with the neighbors over the weekend and they got their spring changed, no one's looking over there being like, oh, cool new spring. Right. And then he's not probably bragging about it because, quite frankly, it's a life tax, right? Nobody's going up to their friends being like, what's up, bro? How you doing? How you doing? "Oh, I'm doing great, man. I just spent $1,000 on a spring." Nobody's doing that. Like they're probably complaining about the fact that they had to pay to get their spring replaced. But if they get a new door and they go hang out with the neighbors are like, hey, man, I saw you got a new door. That looks nice. And he's like, yeah, all of a sudden the feeling is so different, right? Who'd you use? How'd you like them? Blah, 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 whatever. But it's a conversation piece. You upgraded his life. Not only is it working, but it looks better. And he's got peace of mind of knowing that nothing else is going to happen. And if it does, it's under warranty. So you're good. So I'm sitting here processing all this that he's telling me. And I'm like, man, this is the reverse of what I was wanting to do. I wanted to take a bunch of, selling technicians and, run with it. And he said, here's the problem that he found is that no matter how good you get at marketing for repair, he said, let me ask you one question. If you could go out and you had a magic switch and you could turn on the leads and you could bring in 20 technicians over the next 3 months. Could you find 20 selling technicians, people who are great with customers, could sell, show up every day, and do the work in a timely and efficient and with great workmanship? And I said, absolutely not. There may not even be 20 in the metro Atlanta area in garage doors. And he said, exactly. He said, I fought people for years on this very topic. And he said, here's the thing, the people that are like that, they're unicorns and they demand like a really high pay. He said, which is perfectly fine. You got to be willing to pay those people. They're great, they're unicorns. But that's not going to be majority of your guys in the field going to sell doors. He said, the people who are going out to sell doors are dedicated on selling equipment. This is what they do. They're not the best at turning wrenches, but the guys turning wrenches aren't historically great at talking to customers and selling. And he said, with the few unicorns out there, it's different.
Hey guys, I found something that changed my business and I want to share it with you. We've created packages that have included some of the best products in our industry to offer our service customers. The heart of that package is Stealth Hardware Kit. Stealth Hardware is the quietest hinges on the market. I challenge you to buy at least one of these, test it for yourself. Put it on your truck and design a quiet performance package for your customers willing to pay for a better, smoother running door. Buy your Stealth Hardware Kit at Service Spring, do a search for quiet hinge, and then buy that. You can buy a double or single door, 7 or 8 foot tall, and promise you, it'll change your service forever.
Somer USA and Somer Group want to thank you for an incredible year and the trust you put in them and their products. As you know, Somer places high value on relationships, education, customer service, innovation, and professionalism. And they are grateful to you for your part in the fostering and dissemination of these values. If there is any way Somer can support you in your journey, whether through their products, the values they hold to, or the knowledge Somer has gained through interaction with door dealers across the world, please reach out to the team at your convenience. They are here to serve you. Again, thank you from the entire Somer team. Check them out at somerusa.com. Tell them Ryan sent you.
So he's like, what do you say to this? And I'm like, bro, I think you're right. I think I've been resisting the obvious for so long. And I feel like I'm missing it. I feel like I've been missing it. But I said, hey, what's going to motivate my service guy to go out and, turn over leads to a salesperson? And he said, well, good question. He said, it depends on how he's being compensated. And so we worked through some things. And I think what I've come up with is, he's going to get paid his commission for doing repairs. But if he turns it over, he gets paid for a lead, regardless if he does the repair or not. So if he does the repair, he gets paid for the repair, even if he turns it over. If he turns it over, he also gets paid for a turnover. If we sell the door, he will get, so these are all going to be flat fees, flats based on his average repairs and all this stuff. So he could walk in for 15 minutes, have a great conversation, tell the homeowner, look, I really, I think I could fix this, but I'm not sure you'd be as happy. And your wife just mentioned aesthetically, it's got some dings. Let me turn this over to one of our guys that can help you get a new door. Quote, I'm going to quote you some repairs so you can like contrast the difference between what it's going to cost in repairs versus what it's going to cost to get a whole new package. It's going to be quieter, it's going to look better, and it's going to work, and you have the peace of mind. So there's going to be 2 flat commissions. One's going to be when he turns it over, one's going to be when it sells, if it sells. But he has like a cap, I guess. So like if he does $1,000, let's just say he's getting 20%. So it's $200. Well, let's say that we pay him to flip a lead $100. Okay. So now I said 300, but let's say we sell the door and and we have great success with it, but his flat for selling a door is 250. So he makes a total of 300 for flipping the lead and us selling the door. So we take that 300, we put it into the door sale to take care of him, but he doesn't get the commission for doing the repair and the door, right? It's a cat, it's a, like it's the greater of the two, I guess. So that's what I'm kind of coming up with. And I'm sitting here like, man, this could work. Like if we build a system and we structure things slightly different, this could really work. And it even took me down the path of like, how many like repairs from the last 3, 4, 5 years have we called to see if they're interested in a new door? So I asked my sales manager, hey, are we calling these? He said, no. I'm like, bro, like we got to call these. Like this is critical. Like now the value of these previous repair guys, I mean, like we're sending emails and all this stuff, but our door sales guys should, this is a honey hole. And I'm just like mind blown, right? So maybe this is elementary for you guys. Like I don't know, but I love reaching out to other business owners and talking to really smart people and surrounding myself with really smart people. I think it's part of who I am. I love to gather information. I love to share information. And if this is too elementary for you, then by all means, you can stop listening. But I'm really feeling this. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling like, man, I feel like running a garage door company sometimes feels like an uphill battle. I feel like it's very difficult. And I feel like just based on this conversation, I'm viewing my business as a very different perspective because I've been trying to make something work, shoving a square peg in a round hole for so long. And I'm not saying this is the answer. I'm just saying, wow, like the perspective. Let's digest it for a second and see how this could affect your business. The second major thing that we talked about was one of the worst things you can do is give your service people access to see future jobs. I've been against that since the day I started my company. Like I'm like, hey, we got big boys, big girls, everybody's doing a good job. Like we're all adults here. We need to show them the full schedule so they can prepare mentally. But I'm going to tell you, I feel like that has really bit me in the butt hard over the years. And so for that reason, I think over the next couple months, we're going to implement a policy when we introduce this new software that they can only see the job they're working on. And for those of you guys who don't know, we're moving from Service Titan to FieldPulse. Uh, one, because of expenses, like I just don't feel like it's going to give me 4,000 extra dollars of value. And with my resources of having developers and marketing staff, and we know how to connect software and build automations and pull data out of systems. I just feel like I could invest, if I invested 2 months of Service Titan savings, I could build some magical stuff with PhilPulse and build a dashboard and all kinds of stuff. And that's just, I think, where we're headed. And so I think I want to restrict it because I'm sitting here thinking about all the conversations that I've had with our CSRs, with guys in the field calling, trying to move things around or asking questions about a job they really don't want to go to. They wouldn't do that if they didn't see it. So I really like that mentality of them always looking on the schedule for the next job. Um, so I think that's where we're going to go with it. I'd love to hear your feedback if you have any on that. Do you hide it? Do you not hide it? I think the quality is going to go up if they don't know if they have another job for the rest of the day and they could just spend all the time they need with that one person. He then went on to ask me, so this is a different conversation. He said, how do you separate yourself from like the chucking a truck, like the one man show. And I was like, you know what? I said, quality, experience, certified people, like we're going down all this list. And he said, yeah, but really, like, what do the customers care about? And I was like, well, I would hope they care about a lot of that stuff. And he's like, they really don't. He's like, so what do they care about? And I said, well, I don't know. Like, I didn't know where he was going with this. And I was trying to kind of read his mind. And so he was like, speed. He said, Ryan, it's all about speed. He said, if I'm competing against a one man show, he can't be everywhere at once, but we can be everywhere at once because we have a ton of staff. So he said, you need to sell speed. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. I really like that. So I put some thought into it, and I feel like time to call back is important. We know that all the data shows that the first person to respond to an inbound lead and gets the customer on the phone typically wins the job. It's at a higher rate. Like, you have a better chance. So I know speed to lead is important, but like speed to the lead, meaning like you get to the door, is critical, I think. Like, if you can meet everyone today, that's a win. So anyway, I'm looking at revamping how we get places, um, how fast we get there. We talked about marketing. I was telling them how I was doing radio, and the radio advertising is doing well, but not great. Like, we've put some really aggressive offers on the radio, and we do get phone calls for that. But I feel like we're just investing so much that we've taken away from other areas that we really could invest in money in, that we're doing better, like per dollar. And he agreed. He said that radio shouldn't be more than 25% of your marketing budget, and whatever offers you have should be part of your marketing as well. So if you're doing a loss leader, you got to figure out how much that's going to cost you if all you did was go out there and do that for all these customers. And he said you need to factor that into your marketing budget, because that's marketing. That's not sales. That's marketing. Like, you're making an offer that people are taking. And I've always kind of taken that approach, but I feel like I got too deep, too fast into radio. And I'm not going to stop, but we're going to pull back our budget and be much more strategic on the way that we approach it. And and then where we're seeing a ton of success right now is like video and social media. So we're going to ramp up some of our approach on that and do a better job with it, and just make it better. So he said that he's like, hey, since you're so like targeted, he said, why don't you just test something out? He said, I would send flyers to all the higher end neighborhoods at least a minimum of once every 6 months. And he said, you might not get like this huge response right now, but he said, you will eventually. He said, we're still getting flyers from 2019. And I was like, oh, crazy. And if you guys have listened to the show before, like, we got into direct mail, but we've always kind of abandoned it because we bought a list and we started targeting people that were like $3 million homes and above. But what we ended up finding out was most people in $3 million houses aren't checking their own mail, and we're working with like the landscaper or the groundskeeper or the nanny or whatever. And we don't even get to talk to the decision maker unless they reach out to us. And so I think we were targeting the wrong people. So he agreed, and he's like, you need to be looking at like 800K to, 1.5 million. Like, that's the sweet spot, he thought. So I think that's going to be kind of our approach. And we're going to start like just hitting some areas that we really want to be in, near each one of our locations. So we're going to take some of this marketing budget that we're going to get back from radio, and we're going to spend it in social media with ads and content creation, as well as doing some direct mail that's very targeted. Um, and we're going to keep the radio. We're just going to not do as much because we're doing a lot. Um, Little plug for dope marketing. So he also said that like your salespeople should be going to installs and saying hey to the homeowner and making sure everything's going smooth, and then going and knocking on like two doors to the left, two doors to the right, and then one across the street, and put a sign in the yard. And then he said, if it's a good neighborhood, you then, hit that neighborhood with a flyer that says, we're working in your neighborhood. So have those already created. to where you can send those out and it's highly targeted. I mean, how cheap could it be? You're sending a mail piece to 5 homes every install you do. Cheap, but effective. And I like that. Again, not groundbreaking, but just reminders of things that we should be doing that are blocking and tackling. So recap, we're going to shift from life tax to life upgrade, incentivizing techs without hurting margins, control job access to boost productivity, outpace competitors with speed to lead. And then we're going to back it all up with consistent targeted marketing. I thought that was good information. I mean, I thought that was great information. I'll give you a couple more things. I'm going through my notes here. He said that if you can get a hold of a video, he said it's called Motivation versus Intent. He thought it was on YouTube, but he said it may not be. It was put out by Nexstar, and he said that's one of the better videos that he's ever seen. He said that a good example of a company that just feels like they're doing everything right is called Any Hour HVAC in Utah. So you can check them out. He said they do a lot of marketing stuff. They're a massive company, but they've, like when he talked to them, they had like 5 in-house marketing people, 2 videographers, like 1 or 2 people doing social media, like all kinds of stuff. So really thought that was cool. Anyway, that's pretty much my highlights. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast today. If you have any questions, need anything, or just want to give feedback, hit me up. I'm around. I'm on social media, Ryan Lucia, and I hope you guys have a blessed day. Peace out.